What's going on, y'all? It's your host with the most, real Taylor Cole, back at it again with another episode for y'all. Y'all know what it is. It's Podcast Fridays, baby. Movies with Tay. Say it with me. Movies with Tay. And I hope y'all having a beautiful day. Hope y'all having a blast. Oh, happy Friday, because as y'all know, it's a happy Friday. Happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday. I hope you had a good Friday because I am. I hope y'all Mother's Day weekend went well. Um, I hope that y'all have been enjoying the Black History videos and the miniseries. Now, the new miniseries has dropped. As you can see, it's on the shorts. It's not a long form video. It is a shorts video. This is a tester. I didn't want to put a lot of work into those. We're not even gonna say work because I put a lot of work into all my stuff. I didn't want to make these long form videos for the new miniseries just in case. It's just like the first season of Anguish. Anguish was like a short series, 8 episodes, roughly between 3 to 4 minutes a piece. I think they were 3 minutes a piece. Just or maybe even 2 minutes, I think. But it was just designed to, test out and see how they did. They did great on YouTube and TikTok. They could have done better, of course, but they did great. But of course, your host with the most ain't gonna never give up. As previously mentioned in the last episode of the podcast, few things. One, I'm probably going to start another YouTube channel. Haven't figured out the name just yet, but it's going to be like a conversational based type of podcasting over there. It's strictly going to be long content over there. I'm talking 10 plus minutes of videos of communication. It may be me talking about myself, and it may be my fiance, my sister, or somebody of an adult stature may be in here to have generalized conversation with me. And depending on how long the episodes go, they might be cut into part ones, part twos, so we'll see. But also, with coming the new channel, also just giving you guys an update on how season 2 of Anguish is going to be coming out not pretty soon, and sometime in August. It's going to be coming out sometime in August, hopefully. But yeah, that's just a little bit of update before we get into today's episode, because Movies with Tay is about movies for sure. Another update that I want to bring to you guys before we jump into the episode actually is, keep in mind, once this hits 60 episodes, that'll mark my 1 year anniversary. Once this hits 60 episodes, I'm actually going to pause Movies with Tay and do TV shows with Tay, where we're going to either talk about the full season, or we're going to talk about specific episodes or characters. Well, we're going to talk about the characters during the episode, but I haven't worked out all the kinks just yet. But just know that Movies with Tay will take a hiatus, and then I'll do TV shows with Tay. This will give me an opportunity to bring more content every Friday, because it's going to be dropped on Fridays still. It's still going to be dropped on Fridays. And then you're still going to get Black History Mondays, and you're still going to get miniseries Wednesdays. Now, miniseries Wednesdays may go on a hiatus once season 3 of Anguish ends, because I haven't thought of another series to create besides the therapy session. But the point is, I'm going to keep cranking out stuff, and by the time Anguish ends, well, I have something else, pretty sure. But anyway, without further ado, your host with the most is ready to bring to you episode 43. All right? Episode 43. We're talking about One of Them Days. Running time is about 1 hour and 37 minutes long. Movie released 1/17/25. That's January 17th of 2025. My bad, hold on. Anyway, yeah, so that's the release date. Director of this film was Mr. Lawrence Lamont. This was written by I don't know if I'm probably about to say her name, Sarita Singleton. It was produced by Issa Rae, Dennis Davis, Sarah Hold on, let me do that again. It was produced by Issa Rae, Denise Davis, Sarah Rastogi, James Lopez, and Poppy Hanks. You can watch this film on Netflix, Google Play Movies and TV, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Amazon Prime Video. Once again, that's Netflix, Google Play Movies and TV, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Amazon Prime Video. I watched it on Netflix. And then, as y'all know, we get into the characters. We're moving kind of fast today. I'm pretty sure y'all probably feel that. Like, dang, she moving kind of fast. And the reason I'm moving kind of fast because this movie, it's not that hard to recap. So I'm just gonna kind of get through it. The actors and actresses, of course. We have no one other than Miss Keke Palmer, who played Drew Jones. SZA, who played Alyssa. I almost had to think about what her name was for a second. Patrick Cage II as Maniac. Joshua David Neal as Keyshawn. That's my boy. If y'all ain't following him on Instagram and watching his work, y'all should be. Aziza Scott as Big Booty Bernice. Cat Williams as Lucky. Janelle James as Ruby. Maud Apatois as Bethany. Kayla Monterosa Meja as Kathy. Rizzi Timon as Uche. Gabrielle Dennis as Shayla. Vanessa Bell Calloway as Mama Ruth. Lil Rel Howard as the buyer. Dwayne Perkins as Jamal. And Amina Joseph as, I said Amina. Amin Joseph as King Lolo. So that's the character listing. And before we jump into the show, as y'all know, I like to always thank everybody. There's been a couple more people who have came to the team and subscribed. Some of them might have subscribed because of the short form content, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I do appreciate everybody who tunes in week after week with either the podcast or the short form content. To my long form content people, if, like I said, the second channel, when it drops, is going to be 10-minute plus videos over there. And it's going to be just real deal talk. Unfiltered, uncensored talking. You dig me? But anyway, but yeah, thank you everybody who's been tuning in, subscribing. Make sure you guys like, comment, and share and subscribe. And make sure you just, say your girl some love. I really appreciate it. Now, let's jump into it. So, this movie is short and sweet, so we're going to get right to it. The movie opens up with Drew at work. She's, working hard, busting her butt. She's a typical average employee who works really, really hard at the job they really don't want so they can get to the job they do want. And she's just very much so that girl. Alyssa is her roommate, right? And while Drew's at work, Alyssa's supposed to be picking her up from work or whatever the case may be. And she plays a little prank on Alyssa to make Alyssa think she was late picking her up. But she wasn't. I guess Alyssa has a track history of being late all the time and just not being on her P's and Q's. So she was just trying to make her feel guilty, I guess. And it worked because Alyssa assumed she was, late. So she apologized and all that other shit. Well, we also find out that Alyssa has this boyfriend named Keyshawn who's staying with Drew and Alyssa, but he ain't paying no bills. He is there mooching off of both of them girls. And then on top of that, Drew apparently is the only one who really has a job because Alyssa is a painter. She doesn't have an actual job. So it's more so he's mooching off of Drew than anything. So they're in the car, they're having this conversation about, her job interview and making sure the rent get paid. And Alyssa tells Drew, like, yeah, the rent got paid, but she gave it a look like, shit, I really didn't pay it. But she don't say nothing. She assumed, Alyssa assumed her boyfriend Keyshawn had paid the rent for him because she gave him the money to go pay the rent. So she assumed that he paid the rent, but she wasn't for sure. So they get to the crib and Keyshawn got shoes all over the place. Shoes here, shoes there, shoes everywhere, but where they should be is in a freaking room or in a box. And on top of that, them shoes are expensive. So I'm like, this dude got shoes all over the freaking floor. Like, why do you have these expensive shoes all over the floor? I mean, just lay that over the floor. No type of coof, no type of honor for them shoes. They should be in a box. But anyway, I digress. So Um, before they got home, because I actually jumped, because I just thought, because that pissed me off about the shoes. Before she actually went into the apartment, she actually stopped by Mama Ruth, and she stopped by Mama Ruth's place too. And I couldn't tell if it was a convenience store or a goddamn apartment, because Mama Ruth's apartment, I think is what it was, looked like a convenience store. You can go in there and get all kind of snacks, goodies, and everything else. Everybody knew to go to Mama Ruth's for the snacks. So when Drew went to Mama Ruth to get the snacks, she was in there talking to her and, telling about her job interview she's got at 3:30 that day or 4:30, something like that. So they having a whole little conversation, if you will. And while they're talking, Maniac walks in. And when Maniac walks in, she's having this little gaze, and she's attracted to Maniac clearly. And clearly Maniac's attracted to her too, but both of them are too afraid to just speak up and say anything. So they share this little flirtatious moment. He buys her a honey bun and he pieces out. And then she leaves as well. She runs into Jamal, the hairstylist. So he did a half-ass job. He braided half her head and left the middle unbraided. So she was like, "You gonna ever finish my hair?" Blah, 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 blah. He like, "Girl, bye. Like, don't you see me doing business here?" And he doing hair in the courtyard at the apartment complex. Because in California, they got in Texas too, and I think Arizona, but basically all them hot ass states got like this little courtyard thing where the apartment complex is like a square, and then it's like got the courtyard in the middle of the common area that people share, and that's where he doing hair at. And he calling her ghetto, but his ghetto ass is doing hair outside. I digress. But that's after that is when she went in and seen Keyshawn's shoes everywhere. So her and Alyssa having this conversation, she like, "You got to get him up out of here. Like, he ain't paying no bills. He leaving his shoes everywhere. He ain't doing shit. He got to go." So Alyssa's like, "Okay, I'm gonna talk to him." But you can clearly tell Alyssa a little stigmatized. And the reason why I say that is because while they was talking, Keyshawn came out. First of all, drinking off the top of the orange juice that Drew just bought. He just drinking a whole little thing, just all kind of disrespectful. But anyway, so when he came out, he had a robe on while they was talking. She like, "Nigga, is that my robe?" He like, "Girl, you think about the wrong thing." And he told her, he said, "I had a homie to ask about you, but basically I told him, nah, cock blocking, but whatever." So she told him give him her robe back, and he take his robe off. And at that moment is when we were where we were clarified that that's what's wrong with Alyssa. She's stigmatized. But anyway, so like I told you earlier, Alyssa gave Keyshawn the rent money to pay Uche for their rent. Well, when they got done talking for a little bit, Alyssa told her to go, take a nap or whatever the case may be. So Drew goes to try to take a nap because she was working an overnight shift at her job. So she tried to go take a nap when Uche banged on the door. She goes to answer the door. Uche like, "Where my rent money at?" And she like, "Alyssa said that Keyshawn gave it to you." And he like, "Oh no, it's not Keyshawn. She like, Drew like, Alyssa gave it to you." He like, "No, the heck she didn't. I ain't got no money." So now Drew knows Alyssa lied and didn't give him the money. So she goes, approaches the door. Keyshawn coming out, putting his shirt on or whatever. He walking out the room. And she go in there, she confront Alyssa about the money. So Alyssa like, "Girl, calm down. Calm down." Well, they in there having a little conversation back and forth. And guess what? Keyshawn done got the hell up out of there. That boy done cleaned all them shoes that was everywhere, was picked up and gone. Everything he had, except for one phone, he took and he was gone. He got up out of there. So they come out the room and realize he gone. So now the ladies got to figure out what to do now. Like, how we gonna get our rent money? Because he took the rent money and he bailed on us. So they trying to figure out, ideas, the ways to come up with this rent money. When Alyssa remembers that she got his other phone, so she tries to go through his other phone but can't get through it. So they go to Jamal, the hairstylist, and Jamal unlocks the phone for them. I forgot what he told them they had to do in order to get the phone. But anyway, he unlocks the phone for them. All right. And I think he unlocked it because he didn't finish Drew's hair. So he unlocked the phone for them. But he tried to charge like $100 or some shit. But when they go through the phone, they find out that he was talking to Big Booty Bernice. So now the plan is, let's go to Big Booty Bernice's house. Let's get our money and let's get our rent paid. So Drew is supposed to be the distractor while Alyssa's supposed to be the money grabber, right? So they get to the Bernice's apartment and she parks in the spot that says do not park or you will be towed. So she parks there and Drew like, girl, you can't park right here. She like, girl, come on. So they get there, they see it's gonna be a tough one, right? So like I said, Drew's the distraction. So Drew goes up and knocks on Bernice's door, pretend like she knows Bernice, and they chit-chatting or whatever. And Alyssa climbs through the bedroom window. And there is Keyshawn, sleep. Keyshawn, that's like the other people. Keyshawn's laying in Bernice's bed, knocked out cold. He's asleep. So now Alyssa going through trying to find the money, and Drew's up at the front door steadily trying to distract Bernice and make Bernice think that they know each other. And she had Bernice for a minute, but she messed up. She messed up and lost, her grip. So the same time she messed up, Keyshawn wakes up. And Keyshawn wakes up and catches Alyssa trying to, get her money back. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. His wallet was in between his knees. So he ended up waking up while she was searching through the wallet trying to find the money. And they get to arguing, right? And I think Alyssa pushed Keyshawn and he fell and he made some noise. So Bernice like, well, what the fuck is going on in there? So anyway, so Bernice runs to her room and catches Alyssa in the room. And she about to try to squabble up. So Drew ends up pushing her out the way, and they both take out running. They dipping. So they running. And they ran past this car. As soon as they ran past the car, the dude opened the door, and Bernice ran smack dead into the door, bust the glass and everything. And now she 38 hot. So now they ain't got no rent money, and they got Bernice after them. And Bernice is supposed to be this super tough bitch or whatever the case may be. And forgive my French, but she must be some super tough lady or whatever the case may be. So now they running from her, and they got money that they need to try to find to get for rent. So so they go back to where her car was. It got towed, just like Drew said. She tried to tell her, you can't park right there. Car got towed. But they, like I said, they get away from Bernice for now. They also, because my mind is not thinking of something else I missed. But actually, I'm going to bring it up now. So when they get away from Bernice and they get there and realize that her car is gone, Alyssa now comes clean and tells Drew, like, girl, Keyshawn spent our money on an investment. He ain't got it. So now they got to come up with a plan to get this money. So plan one is they try to go get a payday loan from Payday Whenever Loan. Well, when they first try to go in there, Lucky tells them, like, don't do it. Don't go in there trying to get no loan. Just don't even do it. Like, it ain't worth your time. Leave it alone. Because if you ain't got it this month, you ain't going to have it next month, right? So while they sitting in there, at the loan place, there's this wall that's got delinquent people who ain't paid they loan back. So they on this wall of delinquents. Well, they get called back, and the lady so petty, y'all. They get called back, and the lady Alyssa was gonna get the loan first, but the lady looking at Alyssa's thing, and she like, so what kind of job do you got? And Alyssa's like, oh, I don't have a regular job. I'm a painter. I'm an artist. And she like, not a real job. Crumble, toss out. So then Drew tries next. Well, both Drew and Alyssa got very low credit scores, and the lady pretty much like, not gonna happen. So they get put out, don't get the loan, And Lucky, like, thank God y'all didn't get that long because I tried to save y'all from what y'all was getting ready to experience. I'm telling you, it wasn't worth it. And he ain't lying. And I'm going to tell you when I get to my notes section, I'm going to tell y'all why he ain't lying. Because I would have walked out of there as soon as I seen that interest rate. But anyway, so that plan plummets. And Lucky tells him, he's like, I had 15 loans through these people. They garnish your wages, so ain't no point in having a job because they ain't gonna do nothing but take your wage, take your money, until you pay it off. So Lucky, like, yeah, I got saved by the bell. Plan number 2, blood bank. So the next plan they have is to go to a blood bank and start donating their blood. So Alyssa, like, you go first. So Drew goes first, which first of all, Alyssa should have been going first because it's your fault. But Drew goes first. She beats a good friend. She goes first and she starts donating her blood. I think it was like $75 per pint of blood that they gave. So Drew's donating blood. And Ruby, who is a new blood donation worker, she's never done it before. It was her first time doing that. So she can't get the needle right. She finally gets the needle right, gets her taken care of, right? So Drew sitting there donated blood. Alyssa like, I'm gonna go out in the lounge and I'm gonna go chill. She's like, all right, whatever. Some time has passed, and Drew decided if I can get more money, I'll donate more blood. So a girl was like, keep on donating then. So Drew just donating and donating and donating. She didn't donate so much that she didn't suck the color out of her skin. But Alyssa finally wakes up and realizes that Drew's been in there way too long. So she goes in and she's like, yo, what the heck is going on in here? Like, y'all about to suck her dry. So she tries to, unhook her. Next thing you know, she unhooks her, but blood goes everywhere. Alyssa and Ruby fighting over the damn IV so bad they stepping on all of Drew's blood. They splatting it all over the place. And basically, all they get is free apple pie coupons for churches. That's all they get. So all that blood she donated, they got damaged. So no blood, no money. And she probably had about $500-$600 worth of blood that they didn't drew from her. So I'm like, that is horrible. And then the blood was just splatting in people's faces. It was so nasty. But that plan falls through. So now they got to go to plan number 3. And plan number 3 only happens because when they leave the blood bank, they go to churches to go get the apple pies and try to get some free biscuits. And they go to get some free biscuits. Okay. Well, they go with the vouchers and some biscuit burglars with my guy Tony Baker was in this movie too. I didn't see his name on the thing for some reason though. But I'm going to do an honorable mention right here because my guy Tony Baker was in this movie and I love me some Tony Baker. But Tony Baker, his character, I forget his name, but he was the church's employee and he was like, oh, there goes a biscuit burglar. But anyway, so this dude steals their food and now Drew and Alyssa asked out until Maniac pulls up and he gets them food and, they in the car. He tells them to get in the car. He gets them their food. They in the car and they eating, tearing food up. And they, I forget what it was. It was like honey something on. I don't know. It was something she did to some food that Drew did to her food. She fed it to Alyssa, and then she ate some, and they was in heaven, had food orgasm. And Drew and Maniac started flirting with each other, and Alyssa like, okay, time for me to go. So Alyssa dipped and left Drew with Maniac. So they start driving around, right? And like I said, this is when we get to plan 3. Plan 3 is sell them J's. But anyway, so Maniac and Drew still in the car. They driving around or whatever the case may be. And Drew looks down and notices an axe on the passenger seat floor of Maniac's car. And now she's scared. She, goat, head ass. So, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. I'm not used to it being right here. So now she's scared, but he ends up getting a call about an emergency, which is how she noticed the axe on the ground. But then she turns around and get a call from Alyssa's phone from Lucky, telling her Lucky telling Drew, like, you need to get here. Your homegirl is tripping. So while Maniac takes her to Alyssa, Keyshawn and Bernice pull up to churches. Well, no, they went to the blood bank first. My bad. They went to the blood bank first, found out that they went to churches from the blood bank lady, Ruby. Ruby giving out people information when she ain't supposed to. So they went from the blood bank and they went to churches, got some food at churches, hit the biscuit burglar dude because he stole her food. So she hit him and went and got her food. Now we fast forward back to where Alyssa's ass is on a power line trying to get a pair of J's off the damn power line. I think they were some Jordan 1s, if I'm not mistaken, or retro. Maybe they were retro Jordan 1. I forget which Jordan they were. But the point is, she up there on the goddamn power line trying to get it. And Lucky, like, telling Drew, like, you need to stop her because this ain't good. She needs to leave them J's alone. Just tell her to get down and leave them alone. Well, she ends up getting the J's off the power line. And Drew catches them. But a little electric shock wave comes and shocks Alyssa, and Alyssa falls and collapses on Drew. They both wake up in the back of a damn paramedic van. So they wake up, and Drew like, girl, what the hell's going on here? Well, Drew woke up. Not Alyssa was already awake, but Drew woke up because Alyssa landed on Drew's little ass and knocked her out. So Alyssa like, girl, I failed her. I thought I killed you for a second, girl. My bad. So Drew like, girl, we can't be in the back of this motherfucker. We ain't got no money for no damn paramedic. What the hell you doing? Like, we don't have no money for no ambulance. We need to get the hell out of here. She was like, what you gonna do? Jump out when the motherfucker rolling? She was like, we're gonna do something. So it stopped. And they both got up out of there. Took off running. So they running. Alyssa tells Drew that Maniac knew the names of all the paramedics when he called, because he's the one who called. Maniac did. Maniac called the paramedics for Drew and Alyssa. She tells him like he knew their names by. She's like, I don't know how many people he must have killed for him to know them by name. That's crazy. But anyway, so Drew and Alyssa now got to figure out what to do to these shoes. Well, Alyssa and them, they put them up for sale. The buyer, who's played by Lil Rel, he contacts him like, yeah. So I think they was trying to sell them for about $2,500 or something like that. And Drew decides to be the sales lady. So she goes to sell the shoes to the buyer. And she tells a story about how she, where she got them from, blah, blah, blah. And he plays on her little purse strings, if you will, because he tells her that that's the same thing that happened to his daddy and this, that, and the third. And his granddad. He started having this little fake emotional breakdown. So she agrees to knock it down to $1,500. And that's what he was doing. He was haggling her to get the shoes, get them, a little bit lower. And when she said that, his tears dried up and he was cool. And she realized, oh, you played me. But she needed the money. So she just sold them. So instead of her getting $2,500, she ended up getting $1,500. After that incident, after, the transaction with the buyer, she realized, oh, snap, it's getting close time for me to have to go to my interview, but I can't go dressed like this. See, when they was at the blood bank, after all that blood, food, and splattered everywhere, their clothes was drenched in blood, so they had to go change their clothes. So Alyssa like, well, shit, let's spruce it up a little bit. So they spruce it up, get her presentable for her interview or whatever, and then they head over to the interview spot. Well, while they at the interview spot, Keyshawn and Bernice are still looking for Alyssa, and really it's just Bernice. Because Keyshawn really ain't trying to be involved. He ain't got no point. He ain't got no point, no option because he's scared of Bernice. And they still driving around looking for him and everything. And they ain't finding him. Well, Alyssa and Drew are at her interview spot. Drew goes in to do her interview and she's killing it. Drew's giving a damn good interview. And then the male interviewer that came in there, I forgot what he called her, but it was nowhere near Drew. He gonna say your parents didn't make it easy on you, huh? I said, if you don't shut your ass up, sir. But anyway, back to the movie. So while Drew's giving a stellar interview, Alyssa's ass is outside trying to convince the Hispanic fruit seller man, I forget what they call him, trying to convince him to give her a big cup of fruit with the chamoy sauce and all that stuff on it. For the price of the little cup. He ain't going for it. So Keyshawn kept blowing her up trying to get her attention for Bernice, right? And she like, I don't got time for this. So she decides to try to make Keyshawn jealous by taking a picture with the fruit man, the Hispanic dude, and then sent him the picture. And he gasped for air because his pearls are clutched because he is hurt. Well, fake hurt. And Bernice like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? She snatched the phone. She see it. She like, oh, I know exactly where they at now. So she pulled up to where they are. And Alyssa finally get that big fruited cup, but it don't matter because Bernice is there now. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you take a picture and send it to him? Send it to him knowing that he's with her and she looking for y'all. But that's neither here nor there. So she chased her down. She beating Alyssa up outside, and Alyssa out there screaming, Drew, help! Drew, help! And Drew like, girl, if you don't shut the fuck up while I'm trying to do this interview. So Drew realized she ain't got no choice. So she come about the coach, she run up and she try to help fight. Now, I don't know how two people can't jump one person, but Drew and Alyssa get their ass whooped. And then the funny part is Bernice's power move is a booty smasher. Literally, exactly what I said, a booty smasher. She take her booty and she bounced her booty on their head, and that's supposed to be her finishing move. I'm like, ain't no booty in the world that, well, no, my bad. Her booty ain't that big to be knocking two people out with one hit. I'm sorry. But anyway, she knock them out, and she take their money, so now they ain't got no money. And I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I'm gonna say it now. I don't get why they didn't take the goddamn money to Uche and pay him. Alyssa could have took the money to Uche and paid him, and then Drew could have went to her interview. I did not understand why they was running around with the $1,500. She just took it to Uche and paid him in the first place. But anyway, I digress. So now they asked out. They had lost the rent money because of Keyshawn. Got electrocuted. Well, Alyssa got electrocuted for a pair of J's. Got the money for the J's, but lost the money to Bernice. So now they back to square one. And now that they back to square one, they end up having a fallout. And they have a fallout where Drew basically tells Keyshawn, but Drew tells Alyssa, you's a fuck up. I'm sorry, you are a fuck up and you can't get your life together. You keep dragging me down with your BS because you don't want to do right. And then Drew like, girl, I don't want to hear none of that. You just jealous. You need to get a man. Like she don't say you need to get a man, but she starts going in on Drew next. And she basically tells Drew like, you need to live a little. And Drew like, you need to be responsible. You need to take your life more serious. You run around here chasing after a dude that don't even want you. And nerves were hit, nerves were struck. So now they going their separate ways, walking home the same direction, but on different sides of the street. So things get worse because the shoes that Alyssa got off the power line belong to King Lolo, which King Lolo is this high, powerful dude that will kill a motherfucker just for looking at him. I mean, just looking at him. And now they got rent due. They got King Lolo after them. And then they finally go home to find they shit on the curb because they didn't have their rent money by 6 p.m. So Uche put their shit out. So she like, come on now, Uche. Uche like, look, y'all got till 11 o'clock tonight to come with my money. If you come with my money, I'll put all your stuff back into the apartment. No problem. So now the girls is like, they're like, ugh. They're like, what do we do? Keyshawn invested our first set of rent money. Then we got the money back and lost it to Bernice. And now we got Lolo after us over them damn shoes we sold. And what do we do now? And he want $5K. He want $5K for the shoes. So they're like, what do we do now? So what do? They come up with a come up plan. AKA Drew came up with a come up plan. See, all they shit was outside on the curb, right? And they white neighbor, who I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I kind of skipped past her. So they white neighbor, Bethany, she moved in, and Uche kissing her ass so smoothly when she moved in because she gonna pay her rent on time. She white. He even let the dog poop in the common area to make her clean it up. Uche knew he was gonna get his bread out of her, so he wasn't tripping. He was treating her like royalty. Well, Bethany comes outside and she sees all their stuff out there. She's like, what, you having a garage sale basically? And they like, yeah. So Bethany ends up paying Drew for one of Alyssa's paintings. And then this is where the idea of having a art show comes up to sell Alyssa's art. So That's what they do. They get the courtyards taken care, get the courtyard set up for paint for an art show, and that's what they do. They start selling her paintings, so they making their money. They end up making like $5,200, right? Well, mind you, they still need the money for the rent, and they still got money, need to get money for King Lolo. So they had 5,200, and they still have more paints to sell. Well, Lolo, I think he said he was gonna meet up with him at like 10 o'clock or something like that to get the money. So the funny thing is, when they agreed to set up the art show and start making the money, right? Everybody in the neighborhood, in their complex, should I say, helped set up the little art show. You dig? And they, like I said, they were selling everything. Well, when Drew was getting interviewed, she was getting interviewed by Shayla, and Shayla pulls up to the art show and basically lets Drew know, like, I misjudged you, and I think we want you on the team. So she ends up offering her the job. See, when that fist fight happened with Bernice, Drew lost her spot with Shayla because Shayla felt like she was just too ghetto. So Shayla didn't give her the job then. But Shayla seen the potential in Drew and decided to give Drew a second chance and give her the job. Which really, I don't know how I'll get to that in a second because that kind of pissed me off. I hate when people do that. Well, at the party, Lucky shows up as well. And Lucky, he tells them that they have graduated from junior crackheads to supermodels. I was crying. That fool said junior crackheads to supermodels. Well, them little supermodels ran into some big problems when Lolo pulled up, because Lolo gets there and Bethany's overhearing everything that's going on, and she's trying to offer her help, but Drew like, girl, just go mind your business. So Alyssa like, hey, stalling for a minute, distracting as long as you can. I got a plan. So Lolo pulls up and she like, so you gonna shoot me in front of all these people? And Lolo, fuck. Everybody scattered like roaches. And he said what everybody thought, what you should know he gonna say, what people. But anyway, so Lolo clears out the common courtyard and he like, where my bread at? And I want to say Drew hit him with something, and they both, Alyssa and Drew, just take out running. They on their feet, they dipping, right? And ironically, Drew and Alyssa had said once they, got themselves together with paying Lolo off, paying the rent, they was gonna be done with each other. Well, now they gotta link back up because shit, Lolo there. So they running, they hiding from Lolo, and then you think it's the police that pulled up, but it wasn't even the police that pulled up. And I'm gonna tell you who it was in a second. So Lolo now gets distracted and has to run from who we think is the police. So Drew and Alyssa run back to their apartment, and when they get to the apartment, Keyshawn is there at the apartment with candles lit everywhere, an empty ass apartment, might I add, because there ain't nothing in there. But he's there with candles trying to win Alyssa back over. Alyssa like, nope, you ain't want me for real. You was using me and blah, 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 blah. So Keyshawn and Alyssa, no more. Well, while they in there having a little sentimental moment, Lolo busts through the door. And when Lolo busts through the door, he kicked, he got hit in the head with a piece of the ceiling. And when he fell, he knocked over one of the candles. Now the apartment on fire. So they all think they're going to die. Well, somebody called the paramedics and they got there and they saved Lolo, Keyshawn, Drew, and Alyssa. They end up saving them. And when they get out there, Alyssa is watching Keyshawn and not Alyssa, I'm sorry. Drew is watching Alyssa and Keyshawn talk, and she's so proud of Alyssa because Alyssa like, I really don't want nothing to do with you, bro. Like, no, I'm good on you. Well, Drew finds out that Maniac is actually a firefighter, and that's why he had the axe in his car. He's not a killer. He's a firefighter. And they called him Maniac because he did a lot of maniac shit when he was a kid. Not because of shit he did as an adult, because of shit he was doing as a kid. And he decided to become a firefighter. So he was a firefighter this whole entire time while she was judging my boy. Well, we also find out That Alyssa noticed that Lolo was on the wanted posters list for the delinquent people who got a loan from payday whenever loan, and she snitched on him, so that's who came after him. It wasn't even the police, it was the loan people. So she got Lolo off their back. She started doing something right. But she ended up getting Lolo off their back, and what was I gonna say? And basically, they, took care of. They got themselves, where they need to be. Maniac told Drew though that Uche was gonna have to pay for the violation codes he had on them apartments anyway. So, long story short, Keyshawn can't mooch off of Drew and Alyssa no more. So now he gonna mooch off of Bethany, the white girl, because she got AC. So he gonna mooch off of her now, and she don't know nothing about him. But that's basically how the movie ends. It ends with the girls having a hot Cheeto martinis and, being friends again. And they get a better looking apartment in the end. So that's kind of how the movie ends. That's the end of it. So, with that being said, let's get to my favorite part, the notes. So, in my notes section, when Bethany moved into the complex, it was an older dude who pulled a chair out and was watching her move. And like everybody was watching Bethany move in like it was the police, like she was feds. It was so funny, bro. I'm like, why is everybody looking at her? I'm like, maybe because it's the jungles. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't used to no white folks living in the jungles, I guess. Especially not no preppy white folks. And then, remember I told y'all that if I was the girls, I would never try to get a loan from payday whenever loan. Let me tell you why I wouldn't. Because they got them interest rate was 1900.5%. I would have walked out of there so goddamn fast. And then to think, Lucky had 15 loans through them. 15 loans with an interest rate of 1900.5%. Boy, please. Another thing, Drew ass was just way too nice, because there's no way in hell I'd have been getting no loans, I'd have been getting no blood, I'd have been doing nothing. Alyssa would have figured out how to get that rent money, because you gave it to your mooching ass boyfriend that you know is a moocher. I don't care how good his thing is, you still are an adult. So no, Alyssa would have been giving up blood. Alyssa would have been giving up something else to get that rent money. I don't care. I would have been doing nothing. And Drew was right. Alyssa was a fucker, but Alyssa also was right too about Drew. You know what I'm saying? They both were right about each other, but Drew was more right about Alyssa than Alyssa was more right about Drew. And then Lucky crazy ass, when Alyssa ass was on that power line, honey, you gotta watch it to hear what he was saying, because Cat Williams is just funny to me. He's just funny. Drew and Alyssa's friendship was definitely one-sided, and I say that to say because Drew cared more about their living situation than being, being above water. Drew was so happy to try to get a good job to take care of her and her friend, as if her friend is her child. And Alyssa, who's an extravagant painter, instead of finding ways to sell her work, she was just sitting on her work and then letting her boyfriend be a mooch. Like, no, bro, no. Alyssa was not that great of a friend. And really, I would have had to check my friendship from the jump, because he wouldn't have been living in my house without having to pay some fucking bills. No, thank you. He got to go. As I mentioned earlier, the reason why Maniac knew all the paramedics' names, once again, is because he was a firefighter. So if anybody who missed that, that is why Maniac knew everybody's name, because he's a firefighter. You know, when they kept talking about them hot Cheeto martinis, I was like, what the hell is a hot Cheeto martini? And it literally is what it is. They make a martini, and then they make the instead of the sugar rim, they make a hot Cheeto rim. It sounds nasty. And a cool thing about the movie that I liked was the way the movie ended. Y'all know how Friday after next how it opens, like the Christmas thing, how it opens up with the Christmas thing. That's kind of how it ended. It ended like the beginning of Friday After Next. That's how the movie ended. It really gave two different vibes. It gave a black movie ending vibe, and then it gave the Friday After Next movie ending vibe. But the movie itself overall gave a Friday themed vibe, and I think that's what they were going for. And that's what they executed, because it definitely gave a female version of the Friday. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest though, it wasn't as good as Friday, but it definitely gave a Friday vibe. And with that being said, y'all know after I do the notes, I like to conclude the film. So, when I like to rate that film, I like to be honest about my rating. I would have to give it a 6.8 out of 10. It's not a bad movie. It's really not. It's a good movie. The reason why I give it a 6.8 out of 10 is because, well, no, I'm going to give it a 7.2 out of 10. I'm going to bump it up 0.4. I'm going to give it a 7.2 out of 10. The reason why I give it a 7.2 out of 10 is because the movie was a good movie, and the attempt to execute, and if they were attempting to execute a female Friday version of a movie, like I said, they executed it, but to a degree. Two, originality is very important, and although this is considered original because I don't think there's any other movie that is similar to Friday about two females besides Friday. And it's not about two females, it's about a male, but the movie, it should have been more original. Coming up with the theme of two female friends who live together. One's a fuck up and can't, keep their shit together, and then they got to hunt to keep their roof over their head. Like I said, it was a good movie. It's a good movie to watch. But I took off some points because of the originality of the movie. I get paying homage to Friday, but the originality of the movie, they could have came up with a different thing, like a completely different thing versus them having to hunt for getting their rent money. But like I said, it was still a good movie though. I would watch it again. Yeah, that's pretty much why I rated it that way. I feel like the originality wasn't 100% there. It was more of a 70-30 for originality, and 70 towards originality. They didn't bite off of their style, off of Ice Cube style a whole lot, but they definitely took some things from Cube to write this movie. Because Cube's movies are based out in California. This one was based out of California. Cube's movie, they always had to come up with either rent or some type of money to pay something or pay somebody. They had a drug dealer they had to pay in the first Friday. They had rent they needed to pay in the Friday After Next, and then the next Friday they had to make sure they come up with the money to pay their property taxes so they didn't lose the house. So that's what I'm saying. Some of the originality just wasn't there for this movie. But once again, it is still a good movie to watch. I appreciated the film. It gave me some good laughs. It was definitely a funny movie. The comedy in it to me was original for sure, because Cat Williams always brings that originality. But yeah, also too, compare this: the crackhead from Friday After Next that stole people's shit, the biscuit burglar, Bernice, King Lolo. You know what I'm saying? So just saying, I don't want to rip the movie apart too much, but it is a good movie. It really is. It's a good movie. But that's the end of today's episode. I want to thank everybody for always tuning in and watching with your girl. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for your girl. Even if you don't like the thing, at least leave me a comment and tell me that you watched it. And make sure you share so everybody else can see my greatness. Don't hold it all to yourself. Have a happy Friday. It's your host with the most. Argue with your mama. I'm out.